All right. Boy, there's like a 10-second delay on this thing. It's all good. Hello. Welcome back aboard BLERD FORCE 1. This is your boy Mo, here for the weekly chat session about The Boys Season 4, which we just got the 6th episode yesterday, and it was crazy. And there's lots to talk about here. Don't have notes like I usually would. Just last couple of days have been a bit uh, busy, so I just watched the episode like really late last night. Didn't even bother to take notes. So I'm hopefully just coming off the dome is going to be sufficient. But either way, welcome to Area, and move this so I can actually see. Hey, welcome back, Ariel. Good to see you back into the chat. Hopefully, other people will join, but you know what to do. Fire off questions. We're going to try to get down talking about everything that happened in the episode. Some fan theories got confirmed. Some people are not safe anymore. A fan favorite or a fan favorite to hate character departed the mortal plane, which was cool, and we got to see a little bit. And there's a shit ton of talking about politics, essentially. They put capes on it, but they're talking about our real world. So whether or not you enjoy talking about how shitty the real world is kind of up to you. I had a good time with the episode, though. I was trying to remember what the hell the name of the episode was. I can bring up my IMDb. Where are you, IMDb? Not you, not you. Nope. I swear I'm going to find this. There we go. This episode was called Dirty Business. Also, I was sort of live tweeting it, or live threading it, which always makes it so long to watch this episode. It took me forever, but let's see. Ira, you said I wish we got to see more of the actual web weaver shooting webs out of his ass. you know, I have often wondered, and I think the reason why they made Web Weaver have a butt web shooter is because like actual Spider-Man doesn't make any sense to have it on his, like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man having it on his wrist makes zero sense. Uh, Anatomically speaking, doesn't make any sense. Um, it's just a good nod to that particular thing. After episode 6, it might as well be confirmed that Homeland is planning to take over. I mean, yeah, it was. They've pretty much been talking about that from the first episode. It's been the plan all along. It's weird. This is, I don't want to say prescient. That's not a good way to call the writing in the show, because it only takes a slight bit of extrapolation from like what was happening 2 years ago or 1 or 2 years ago to see the way the gears were turning uh, politically. So now everyone's all, you know, up and talking about what is it, Project 2025 and all that stuff and everything that's surrounding that. And and now it looks like, hey, these guys are doing some Project 2025 stuff too. I mean, yeah, but to be perfectly honest, I would never be surprised that the so-called ruling class, the oligarchs, have been whiling away planning to try to figure out how to undermine democracy so that they're a permanent ruling class in this country. I mean, they are de facto ruling class because of money and politicians being in their back pockets and whatever, and their ability to circumvent rules and do whatever they push people out, poison water, poison environment, steal from people, get the government, fail at what they do and get the government to pay them for failing. I mean, they're a de facto ruling class, but this is more like looking at like, well, what is it kind of like? And I don't believe that any of the writers have been in those rooms, but I mean, evil geniuses or evil, just plain people, evil people, they're probably not they're not like Ozymandias from Watchmen. They have some pretty standard shit to think about. Let's see. Johnny, welcome. Also, the whale comes out of Toby's hair on. Well, it's just that it's that little whatever right there. It's still it doesn't make any sense. But that's fine. It's a guy who has the powers of a spider doesn't make any sense. So I'm not gonna really harp too much on where his webs are coming out. It would have just been funny if he had to, twerk to get his webs to come out. Air twerking, if you will. It would really make all of that traversing the city in the Spider-Man games a lot different, I think. Uh, Off-brand Spider-Man is literally just Spider-Man with a different suit, so he'd win. Web Weaver's a junkie, and it's not clear what his powers really are beyond shooting webs out of his butt. So I say Spider-Man. Um, yeah, Spider-Man beats Web Weaver, or fake ass Spider-Man beats Web Weaver pretty handily, I think. Hell, I honestly and truly do think that Spider-Man, any iteration of Spider-Man, could beat Homelander. He's got going for him is he can fly, and he's really fast. He can fly, and he's got laser eyes. But like, if Tom Holland Spider-Man with the suit, he'd beat his ass. Don't He'd fly, and that he'd have to stay flying because if he got it down and tried to fight, he's got reasonable speed and he's got basically precognition about getting hurt. So I think he'd beat him. So this episode, I don't want to recap so much as kind of touch on like the cool bits. So we got the dungeon scene with Huey, and I was surprised that was. Remember when we watched Hero Gasm? We're like, oh my god, they can't go any further than this. Yeah, they did. That Tech Knight being a weirdo, not just a weirdo, but like a super weirdo, makes all the sense in the world to me. And also, it's not just him. Other people, in his 1% of the 1% party, we're definitely going to come down to indulge too. Oh, let me catch up on what you guys are saying. Oh, surprised we haven't seen a Green Lantern parody in the boys. Yeah, they haven't. I think it's the whole hard light thing is probably the deal. Like, how do you make that real? Um, Web Weaver has super hearing, like most super. I mean, possibly. The thing is, have you noticed that super strength and super durability it's not for everybody. It's conveniently for not for everybody. Like Sage isn't super durable or super strong. Um, I don't think Tech Knight is, but there are some people that don't have it. Stan Edgar gets killed in the season finale. I don't think we see Stan Edgar till next season. To be honest, I think he's off the grid and he's going to stay off. But also, he's probably marshaling his forces because he's not dumb enough to not realize what's going on, and he got saved by Victorian, so I think that he's off the radar, but he's not off the board. Um, yeah, I think you asked this to last time. I said super smart. I still think super smarts. Like if you think about Forge has from the X Men has sort of a super smart ability, but it's more he's a super engineer in the sense that if he can dream of it or think of it, he can make it. If he sees it, he can make it. So which is cool. It allows him to do a lot of cool stuff. It's semi magic, if you will. But Reed Richards is essentially that. I mean, he can stretch and everything like that too, but one aspect of his power that people have made up is that he can stretch his brain, so his brain can get big enough to actually solve whatever problem. So actually, that's a very useful the ability to solve to be smart enough to solve any problem. It's not a silver bullet, as we saw in this episode. Sage, have you all noticed that Sage is the smartest person on the planet, and somehow she keeps missing a beat here and there. She keeps not factoring certain things in. She's like Voldemort, who's smart as hell, but always forgets something. There's always something important, forgets it, fucks him up. So I think I said on Threads, Sage doesn't survive the end of the season. She's got too many ops right now, and one of them is Homelander, who she's working for. But you know, she didn't intentionally get shot in the brain. Um, so she's kind of precarious right now, and also especially since Firecracker did that whole breast milk thing, more precarious than she understands. See, the problem Sage has is she's smart, but she doesn't have all the information. So being smart is useful. Being super smart is useful. Having a lack of information kind of negates the power. A lot of recurring characters being killed. I mean, I don't mind Tech Knight. I sort of wanted to talk about Tech Knight too, and also, before I get any further, I do have something to do at 6:30 this evening. So this is probably only going to last about an hour and 10 minutes. I'm sorry, I would have been here earlier, but they had me stay a little late at work. Anyway, Tech Knight is a piece of crap. Was a piece of crap. Uh, and also, y'all note that it wasn't just poor people or middle class people that gave their kids V. His billionaire parents gave him V to give him superpowers. Um, and he's basically Batman, right? He's pretty much Batman with some superpower, to make him a super detective. Also, he's from old ass money, and he's racist as fuck. He was talking that shit to A Train about how his slave catcher ancestors would have caught A Train, and I'm just like, I felt for A Train in the sense that there are plenty of people of color in spaces that they normally aren't welcome in, or that they're the only one or whatever, and they have to put up with bullshit comments like that. I mean, he could have fucking smeared Tech Knight's face across the fucking concrete for 2,000 miles if he wanted to. But he got to play nice because Homelander, right? Also, shout out to A Train for doing some heroic shit. He's definitely gonna die. I'm just, just saying. Um, who can create telekinetic constructs? I have no idea. I can't answer that. Does she make it to season 5? I think my prediction is that Annie kills her, and they're gonna have a final confrontation to just put an end to that. Also, I really think season 5 is going to be Homelander without his minders, without his support. So if that's the case, because it'll make him more dangerous. If you take Firecracker away, his emotional support. That's one thing that Homelander's been missing. His emotional support has been gone because he killed his handler that gave him his breast milk fixation. He killed his Nazi girlfriend, right? Starlight's not there for him to put the screws to. Sage is holding his fucking hand through this revolution, and Firecracker is his essentially his security blanket with her breast milk. So if they're all good, if he kills Sage for because he loses his temper, and Firecracker gets killed by Annie, he's gonna be a fucking loose cannon in season. And you think he's a loose cannon now? Wait, season 5, I believe. um, how does she learn about Homelander's milk fetish if it's not? I mean, maybe she was snooping around in it. I believe she probably snooped in his plate in his room just like everybody else did. But I mean, there probably was some. Honestly, I don't think it's that big a secret that he's fixated on milk. I mean, if you ask the right people, probably. Um, yeah, sorry, by the way, Search Hero 100. Thank you for joining. Thank you for jumping into the chat. Yes, he's a racist ass Batman. There was a line in there that I was particularly good and insightful. I already knew I didn't like Tech Knight. I didn't like him from not that I didn't. I like his character and what he adds to the show, but he sucks, right? Um, but what we saw him in Gen V, and he sucked. But in this one, he's like an extra layer of bullshit. He's old money, old racist ass money. And then remember he's Batman, so his parents died when he was a kid, right? And he became Batman essentially. And he was raised by his butler. Now in Batman, it's an old white English guy, right? Oh, that's sweet. In this one, there's an added layer of extra racism because it's an old black English butler. He says he's like my dad. And if he was like his dad, see, it's different. Bruce Alfred, he's a stuffy old English butler, so he, of course, protocol will never allow him to call him anything other than Master Wayne, and it seems right because that's the stereotype of English butlers. But you add on, this is a black dude who raised him. It's a mammy, like a mammy, right? And he used the inflection that the actor gave to calling him Master or whatever the fuck his last name was, Tech Knight. There's a layer of, and also his people were slave catchers, right? And they run prisons, the prison industrial complex. So calling him master, there's an added layer of like a subtext of racism to him being forced to call him master. I was like, that's brilliant. And also he sucks. Yeah, the way he talked to A Train. It's like I said, A Train could have smeared his face across the pavement, but he's got to play nice because Homelander wants him to. Uh, Straight up cry when how racist do you have to be that you'd rather Homelander laser your head off than donate $100 million to Black Lives Matter? Mind you, he's a billionaire. He could afford that, and I like that Kamiko did it anyway. But how racist do you have to be that Homelander is a better alternative than giving money to Black Lives Matter? That's special. Um, yes, Victoria Newman makes it to season 5 because they need her for this whole coup. So if anybody kills her, it won't be Homelander. If she does die in this season, it's not going to be Homelander. It's going to be the virus, I think. I create pink telekinetic constructs by concentrate. I mean, sure. The only thing is, what's the limit of the powers? Like we've seen teleportation and invisibility and phasing, so that's not out of the realm of possibility. I just wonder did they, maybe there was somebody like that in the comics and they just didn't feel like putting them in. Let's see. Grace, Mallory, Ashley, Seth, and Evan get. I see Ashley. I also see who's Seth and Evan. Who are Seth? Remind me who they are. Grace Mallory, she's been out of the picture. We haven't even seen her this season, so I don't know about her. Senator Calhoun going to die too. Not sure who that is. See, I'm bad on the names, so y'all remind me of who these people are. You like the actor, but yeah, no, he played Tech Knight well. I like I said, the character sucks, but the actual what he adds to the story definitely great. See Tech Knight in his blue armor he had in the comics. Well, I mean, maybe at the funeral. Because there's a reminder though, like him getting strangled to death, like him getting turned on by his sidekick, and the sidekick knowing exactly where to hurt him. I love that. Also getting strangled to death by his dad, his surrogate dad was beautiful because fucking around and finding out, right? You can step on people only for so long. Um, also, as far as Tech Night, that whole Tech Night thing was like nuts. Um, Somebody said on Threads that you could tell like he's like a millennial writer because he's talking about Santorum and cake farts, and I was like, yeah, they probably are around my age. Whoever. It was funny though. I thought it was quite funny, and kudos to Huey for standing in the paint there because like that was some shit. Um, and Tech Knight, his whole fascination was crazy. It's crazy. All I'm rambling, but at Tech Knight, there's so much going on there. His wanting to cut holes into Huey and fuck them is like it's weird, but if y'all haven't read, there's a book, the book of blood, books of blood, um, and I tried the guy from Hellraiser, right? The guy that Clive Barker wrote it. There is a story in Books of Blood where there's an aphrodisiac that's created. It's too powerful, and this guy that's a test subject literally he fucks himself to death, but he does because it's too hard on his body. But he will fuck any hole. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's like in the story. He literally finds a hole in a brick wall and fucks it. So Tech Knight makes me think of that. I wonder. I don't know if that's from the comics or if this was something they added to his character. Let's see. Uh, I don't think Tech Knight's butler is that actually. I mean, he could be. There's still slavery, you know. Um, Jared Padalecki could be Magneto like character in season 5. Could be Johnny. I mean, I'm I can't wait to see how they use him. But Ariel, yeah, I mean, his butler could be like that. I mean, he could be have been, from a line of people that are employees. um, see, limits of telekinetic constructs. Yeah, it's sort of like with Jean Grey or whatever, unless you're like super powerful. Search Hero says, I think Seth and Evan are the pitch guys. Oh, so okay? The black guy and the white. Okay, I feel like there's more comedy to be mined from them. If anybody dies, fake ass Joss Whedon, director Adam, that would be fine for me. I, he got slapped up in the last episode, so why not? Um, I think Billy. Let's see. Johnny says, I think Billy finds another way to kill Homelander in season 5. Um, they better. What can beat him right now is the question. Temp V don't ain't gonna work. Even though I think if you just give a bunch of people Temp V, you probably can just kill the guy. But whatever. Find Soldier Boy and get his ass out of storage. Um, Clone Soldier Boy. I don't. There's a billion things they could do. Uh, excuse me. Soldier Boy character Uriel says has the basic super strength, speed, and vulnerability powers, uh, but add a flashier range power. Any ideas? A ranged power. I don't know. Scream or something. Like, doesn't Homelander have like a sonic scream or something like that? And that could work. I mean, at that point, you're basically making an OP Superman. So like anything you add is not gonna change much. I think. Um, Johnny says in season 5, Homelander needs to eat milk pies. What the heck? What is a milk pie? I don't know what that is. Ariel says episode 6 and 5 felt short as hell to me. You know, I think they were they about an hour long? They might have been 40 something minutes long. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at it. Um, yeah, maybe. I think I honestly the scenes with Homelander where he's about to kill people feel so stretched out. In this one, he couldn't just kill anybody. So I never honestly, when he was in the room with people, I never felt like he was in danger of slaughtering half the people in the room, which tells you something of like he can button it up to get something done. Um, as much as he's just like, these are ants and whatever, but they're ants that are useful to him, so he's not going to kill everybody. And I was like, I didn't even feel like he was on the cusp of shooting, lasers at anybody when they were like 25th Amendment. Bitch, did you think about oil? Did you think about civil service? Did you think about this and there? Like all of those old rich assholes were like throwing stuff like five, six, seven, complications, which tells me they've been gaming out this situation for a long time. Like they already know the issues that keep them from going forward. Like if they could iron out those details, they'd have been, fucking launched a coup against, to take over the government. And I honestly and truly feel like Project 2025 gives me confidence in saying that yes, most definitely rich assholes have tried to figure out how do we establish ourselves legally and constitutionally as the landed ruling class that it's inheritable, and that no one can depose. So I mean, they've been trying to figure it out for 200 plus years. So let's see. But yes, I mean, I think the thing is there weren't a 5 6 plots going, so maybe that's why it felt short. Johnny says, any thoughts or predictions on Homelander using encampment prison for distance? Not a surprise. I mean, imaginary Kessler basically said it's not long before they start rounding people up. And Sage more or less hinted at it when she said, you can't kill them all because somebody's got to build your monuments. That's true. Look, internment camps are, they are things that have existed whenever there have been, struggles like this. Everyone thinks of, the Nazi concentration camps, but, the Russians sent people to, Siberia to just fade away and die, in harsh conditions and manual labor. And that's been true the world around. So it's not a surprise. The fact that they also added what I would call a profit motive to it, it's just the American spin on it. Because, for-profit prisons are real. Tech Knight's family, profits off of that. Which is another angle to Tech Knight. I keep coming back to this dude, but if y'all don't know, maybe if y'all know American Constitution that well, slavery is illegal except for prisoners. Prisoners are the only people who are legally allowed to be effectively slave labor, not paid, forced to work, but not paid for their work. And so that's another angle to the Tech Knight thing. Runs for-profit prison, gets paid by the government to run for-profit prisons, uses the prisoners as slave labor essentially, and gets paid on that end too. Yeah, it's some bullshit. So whenever people say we outlawed slavery, it's a fucking lie. If you want to know more about it, there is a book. I think it's called. I think it is said "Slavery by Another Name" or something like that. It's about the prison industrial complex. Not even that, just prisons in the South after the end of the Civil War, essentially turned into another kind of slavery, primarily targeting black people. All right, where are we at? Imagine if Uriel says, imagine if they use resurrection compound B to make an excuse. Oh fuck no, nope. I don't believe. Like for one, this is an expensive show to make. For two, as much of a prestige show it really is built around Eric Kripke, and his writers. And if they're done, they're done. And also, in the streaming model, there's no incentive to go long on your seasons. Uh, Even now that they're putting ads on, there's no real incentive to it. You don't get as much out of it as broadcast TV. Johnny asked, "Did you think Annika, Cameron, and Huey Senior were dying this season?" I had no thoughts about Cameron. I wasn't bothered by it, but no, Huey Senior. That again. I never thought too hard about. To be perfectly honest, I don't spend a lot of time speculating about these shows because I find that I think too hard about them and then I ruin my enjoyment of what actually happens. Um, Johnny, we still don't know how strong Billy's tentacles are. Um, rip a soup and rip a soup to shreds. Strong. That shit's crazy too. I I'm gonna pause on reading y'all's things because I want to talk about the ghost in the machine, or at least the ghost or the devil on Butcher's shoulder. How Kessler? Who did y'all call that? I saw people talking about that he was not real, and I was like, that's intriguing and a good possibility. Um, he straight, it's a Fight Club thing, and it's cool. I liked it. I liked it when it was a finally revealed. Uh, but it like I think there was enough evidence, like yeah, it's possible. But when he finally, told Becca to shut up, that was pretty good. It was good stuff. Um, Butcher being like, "What? You're made up? That's how could I have done that?" And I'm like, "You've literally been talking to your dead wife for like how long? So just how is this hard for you to understand?" I do like Kessler being like he's almost the voice of reason in here. Like will Butcher burn? Will he kill every soup to kill Homelander? And I've got to say, I'm with Kessler on this. Like, fuck them all, for real. Um, and I like Annie, and I like Kamiko, right? Hell, I like Marie from Gen V. I like all those guys. Um, but still, I mean, you got you want to save the world, or you want to save some, a couple thousand people. What does Spock say? The needs of the many. Um, let me catch up with what y'all are saying. But yeah, the whole Kessler thing, that's pretty crazy, but not unexpected. Let's see. Ariel, I will answer the Nick Cage thing. It's probably The Rock. I like The Rock a lot. Uh, Third Shiro 100. I would say for me the episodes feel long, but I feel like the writers are filling time in certain places. I can't remember if past season are like this. Uh, I don't feel like there's filler. They have plots that are sort of playing themselves out, like the whole thing with Kamiko and trying to see Frenchie. Like they could have left that out, but we do need to know that she does care about what's happening with him. Um, like Huey and his mom's part, that's kind of ended in this episode. Um, Annie trying to clear the air with firecracker. There's just like there, I don't count it so much as filler as adding to the details of storylines we're already sort of following. If Butcher actually became like Venom, what would he be like? Uriel asks. Um, Less crazy or more crazy? I don't know. I feel like since all the voices in his head are really just himself, maybe more like Carnage and less like Venom. But um, the question is his tentacles or whatever the fuck they are they certified soup killers, or was Ezekiel just a one off? We'll see. Uh, Johnny asks. Um, oh, Uriel's had superpower. I feel like I keep answering. If I had a superpower, uh, longevity. There you go. Let me live as. Let me not die if I can help it. I want to see. I want to see if we ever make it to the stars, and I don't think before I die we will. Uh, Johnny, do you think the boys end up in the encampment prison at the end of the season? Um, Maybe a couple. I don't think all of them. I think Butcher lives through the end of the season, so not him. Um, Huey might possibly. Um, Kamiko maybe, Frenchie maybe, but I think Annie and Butcher no. Um, Surge Hero 100 says, I wish they would have given us more clarity on Butcher and the thing inside him. I'm still lost on what is it, sentient or moves based on instinct. Good question. I think we're going to find out next episode now that he knows what's up. I don't think this is a Venom situation. I think this is inside of him. Ariel, I think you mentioned this last time about your plots, man. Like I said, even if you just just put the scripts out or something like that. Hell, if there's scripts, you can probably turn them into a graphic novel. So I've met a screenwriter that did that. Which, by the way, tell all your screenwriters that if you ever meet, don't just think they can just throw a script at an artist and that's that. That's not. There's more to screenwriting. It's more to writing for comics than just taking your screenplay and giving it to somebody. That's that comic I bought. I was like, you're not very visual. Um, Is Huey's full name Huey Jr.? I believe so. I believe it is. He's the same name as his dad. Search Hero. A lot of people called it, but never thought about it initially. Well, I never thought about it. I didn't think that deep into it about Kessler, but when somebody mentioned it, I was like, well, sure, why not? That would make sense. Well, okay, yeah. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Glad to see you in the chat. And if you got any questions, you know what to do. Uriel says, in the first 4 episodes of The Boys, I thought Kessler was real. In episode 5 and 6, I completely thought he was a hallucination. Yeah, I think they started to sort of show kind of the seams on that. But if you clocked it early on, like, cool, like, I get it. Things like that are cool because you can sort of like back up and look and see how they were telling you all along he wasn't real. But the only because it's a hallucination and Butcher's an unreliable narrator, or when we see him as the primary in the scene, what he sees is what we see. So it's unreliable, any of the scenes with him in it and Kessler. Back another hallucination created by the tumor. Iriel asks, I assume as much. I think the idea here is, yeah, it's a hallucination, but this is his conscience. If I have to put it down to anything, it would be his consciousness or his conscience, not conscious, conscience is kind of fractured because of the tumor. And so, in a sense, Becca's sort of his better angel, and Kessler is, his worse self. And he's kind of in the middle listening to them both, which suggests he has 3 personalities. I don't know. Search Hero 100 says the presentation of the reveal was good, but I guess I wanted more info on what the thing is on the inside of him. I would just say patience. I think we have 2 episodes to go in the season, and this clearly is. Well, I look at it like this: if the soup virus fails, which it probably will, because have you noticed every silver bullet to solve the problem fails to be the solution, right? So I think this silver bullet misses Homelander and hits somebody else. Could very well hit one of the people we don't want to die. But that being said, this is if the virus fails, Butcher is the silver bullet because he has a power that seems to kill soups, but we don't know the extent of it just yet. To be perfectly honest, I would prefer it if it wasn't that. I would prefer if he's part of the solution, but other people join in. Because what I want to see is people to just turn around and be like, all right, we got to take this motherfucker out. Like, even if it's, even if it's just like A Train or Deep or somebody, when they realize the extent of his mania and how he's going to burn the world down, then some soups gang up, or make a choice about which side to be on. And like obviously Annie has made her choice and Kamiko clearly, but if you can get a bunch of them to just kind of give him the business and then let Butcher finish it off, cool. Um, where are we at? I'm behind. Sorry. Boys are the Uriel said boys are the perfect representation of why humanity isn't fit to wield the powers of the divine. Well, at the very least, we know that we know it's very hard for people to wield power responsibly with no checks on them. The whole point of checks and balances, the whole point of in government, the whole point of appealing to people's conscience. Uh, it's the whole point of you know indoctrinating people with religious dogma somehow to put a check on accumulated power. Um, because we know we can't rely on people to just be good. I like how about this? Generally speaking, sure, people shouldn't have godlike powers because we just don't know how to act. Our culture aggrandizes strong people, strong men that just do whatever. We hell, you don't even have to have ultimate power. You just have some power. You know, Harvey Weinstein exists, right? Um, Trump exists. Putin exists, and people that want to take advantage of that power latch on. They puff them up, they prop them up, they enable them, they empower them to get a little bit of that. So we can't trust people in general to wield power. This is why the whole idea of the person who should lead is the one that doesn't want to, or should be. Um, I don't know if that's necessarily true all the time, but it's a good way to go. Somebody who doesn't want power is probably the person that needs to have it. Um, I will my counter to that is I think you could have given Mister Rogers, Fred Rogers, ultimate power, and he'd have been he'd been Superman. He'd been benevolent. But you can't count on benevolence from people. That's the problem. And I don't think Fred Rogers would take it anyway. Did you miss Little Nina? I must have. Little Nina is the Russian mob boss, right? I probably did. Um, Let me know, Johnny, where that was. Uh, After this, Furious says he's going to watch every Nick Cage film to find out how strong he is when combining all his roles. I'm going to do the same for Jim Carrey. Good luck. Nick Cage has been in a lot of shit. So, um, I love Nick Cage. Like, if y'all haven't seen The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, hilarious. I love that one. Also, I haven't seen Pig. Uh, what was there was one he did. It was a slasher movie. I can't remember the name of it, but if I can remember it, it was really badass. I love Nick Cage. I can't wait to see him in the live action Spider-Man Noir show. It's gonna be cool. Ariel says, "Who will win a fight? The boys versus the seven? Oh, the seven. At least as they are now, they're too strong. Hell, they have Homelander. That's enough. They don't need anything else. Billy with his crowbar and Joe with his bat would be a. Hey, tell the Mortal Kombat people to make it happen. Um, Johnny said that with about the crowbar. That's funny. Ariel says, "Who's your favorite member of the seven?" Um, right now, oof. I sort of like the guy playing Black Noir just because he's funny. I haven't seen much. He's an actor, man. He's he's in it for the love of the game. Like he don't even care about the killing. That's whatever. He just wants to be. He just wants to play his role to the T. And good for you, man. He's not even afraid of getting lasered because he's not supposed to say anything, so it's not a thing. But no, on the real, ugh, I want to say A Train, but he's pissed me off too many times. So maybe Sage right now. Surge Hero said 100 asks or says Kessler being a hallucination was cool. The way they made me believe it as opposed to Becca because I feel the way they portrayed her as typical Hollywood does it, which wasn't bad. Yeah, it's an homage to Fight Club, and which is not bad. I think that's one of the good reveals in movie history. So why not? Why not do an homage to that? He also says, I like seeing the actress come back. Yes, it's nice of them to, to bring actors back to kind of be a part of the show. So that was very cool. Johnny says or asks, what side do you think Ryan will be on at the end of at the end of this season? He's still on Homelander's side. Um, we'll see how much his dad has been twisting his sense of justice, but I think he's still on Homelander's side. Uh, Ariel asked, "What if every human on Earth got superpowers?" Um, well, I mean, have you seen Invincible, where the Viltrumites basically cold the weak? That'd be what happens. You can't trust. Look, you can't trust people with guns, right? You can't look in America. Now, I don't go around being afraid that somebody's going to pull a gun on me, but you have a decent chance of it in your life. I don't know if y'all have ever had a gun pulled on you, but if you ever seen one pulled on somebody, there's a decent like I'm in Florida. We got concealed carry, we got open carry, we got stand your ground, right? And we got a bunch of people that are emotionally unstable, immature, right? So we can't trust people with guns. I mean, like I said, I have to live and go to work and shit like that, so I don't think about it too hard. But there's a reason why I don't honk at people when they cut me off or whatever. Fuck it, whatever. Do your thing. No road rage. I don't get in people's face because it ain't nothing. I'm telling you, it ain't nothing for people to pull a gun on you. So we can't trust people with guns. So superpowers, fuck that. Going to blow up. It's going to burn to the ground with people with superpowers. Johnny, I must have, but you got to let me know where Little Nina was. I don't remember. Ariel, if I remember, I've got such a long list of shit to watch. It's not even funny. Like I'm not even talking about my lists on my streaming channel. I keep a actual list. I'll be like, all right, I need to watch this next. It's so long, like I don't know when I'd get to it, but I've heard good things. I will keep that in mind. Um, yeah, Johnny, I know who Little Nina was. Was she in the sixth episode and I just missed it? I don't know. Um, Hero says I think the new Black Noir is actually like a clone of the OG Noir. Could be. It's entirely possible. If I don't know if y'all watched Diabolical, the animated, kind of side project for the boys, but where we kind of saw Noir's origin and why he was all fucked up. Because he was a member of the original set, well, not the seven. He was a member of what the fuck was it named? Uh, Soldier Boy's thing, his super group, and Soldier and talked too much, and Soldier Boy essentially nearly beat him to death. That's why he didn't talk anymore. He nearly beat him to death and basically gave him some sort of brain damage. You should watch Diabolical if you haven't watched it. It's really good. And also, if you watch Diabolical, there's an episode that essentially tells you about the first Homelander's first mission when he's finally out as a real hero, and how it goes terribly wrong, and how Noir sort of shows him what to do when he fucks up, which is kill everybody that can see. Let me see, where am I at? Uriel's. Oh, I do not want to see 22 season of the boys. Like I said, I think 5 is going to be it. I believe it. I believe Eric Kripke when he says that. So next year, that's the end of this. That's good. We need definitive ends to these things. Honestly, I can't see how you milk it much further. To, how do you make this go further? And also, I really want to see Eric Kripke do something else. He's a great creator. He gets great people to work with him. He's a great showrunner. And he has a really good creative vision. And he said he would like to do something in Star Wars. So I look, imagine that. I'm not saying they're not going to let him do the boys in Star Wars. That's never going to happen. But his creative, like he did Supernatural, which was sort of a TVMA, but like more PG-13 ish sort of show that could be suitable for teens or and higher. So he could do something in Star Wars, I believe. Um, and if they give him creative reign, let him have a corner of the universe, it could be cool. Um, like Andor turned out to be something really cool because Tony Gilroy has a vision and was free to execute it. So I say the same thing for Kripke. If they can do that, dope. Let's see. Let me catch up. Thoughts on the movie Brightburn? Asked Johnny. I liked it. I liked it quite a bit, actually. Um, I'm sad they're not going to make a sequel, but I mean, to me, the end of the movie was essentially, I'm going to take over your planet because I can't. Who's going to stop me? But apparently, if y'all didn't know, apparently though, it's in a I think it's in a similar universe as some other James Gunn thing, and I forget what it was, but there's supernatural shit in it, so it might be in the same universe as Slither. um, yeah, Ariel, I agree. Everyone getting superpowers. We're done. It's like saying, what if everyone got a nuke? Well, because one dumb motherfucker is gonna be like so mad at somebody he's gonna shoot it. That's what happens. Um, Johnny says stepping on people's shoes in New York City can lead to violence. I mean, yeah, real. It's we don't need any look. We don't need to empower people even more until we culturally have learned to control ourselves. Like control our emotions, control our actions. You know what I'm saying? Like if everyone in this world was raised like Clark Kent was to understand that he could hurt somebody and then therefore be very careful not to, and that was our culture, sure, everyone can have superpowers. Why not? But we, we too much value hyperaggression, or maybe not value, but we reward it too much. Um, Even if it's not physically, but we you get too much out of it. So we're not ready for that shit. We're not we are like I said, we're barely capable of functioning with guns without people going on shooting sprees. Uh, Hero says he only has 4 things on his watch list. Man, you lucky. Because I mean, I do this thing and I just click and I'm like, oh, that looks good. Oh, and then next thing you know, 200 things that I'm never going to watch. Supernatural is meant to go on for 5 seasons. Yes, Ariel. Yes, I've heard. That's why I'm never going to watch it because it's too damn long. I can't do if they were 10 seasons that were 10 episodes each, maybe, but 15 seasons. There are 25. Nope, not happening. Even Superhero 100 says, even on CW show Supernatural had good writing. So I've heard. Look, I like the first. I've watched the pilot episode. I was like, that's cool. I just, it's too daunting. It's too long. And I'm just like, the end of the road is so far away. Um, Uriel says they're apparently going to make a Brightburn sequel. Are they? I have to look that up. I tend to follow movie news, but I hadn't heard that. If they do, cool. Um, hope that world must suck because he literally is just Superman. He's even got laser vision. Like he's Superman, but he's not human. And I mean not human in the sense that even being raised by humans to be a good kid, he's still not human in the way his mind works. So I don't know. Um, you might get the Brightburn sequel in season 5. I mean, I hope not. Ryan's he could be a good kid, but he's being raised by a terrible person, and we can't count on him being so good that he can overcome bad parenting. A lot of people don't. Worse though is that he really does have the power of God. So I really hope Becca really drummed into his brain that nope, you gotta be good. Johnny, what about My Hero Academia? If you're asking, will I watch it? Probably not. Another one of those long shows that I don't have room for right now. I've heard good things, but also my podcast partner Lottie says that I think he said it falls off after a few seasons. So it sounds cool though. Ira says, I wish him Brightburn to explore more Brandon's life before he got superpowers. um, he seems to have a regular old Clark Kent upbringing. You know, brought raised on a farm, going to church, doing regular old stuff. So it doesn't sound to me like it was that bad. Let's see. Once again, I forgot to put my mic closer, but it seems fine. Ariel says, "Who will win a fight deep versus Super Friends Aquaman?" Aquaman. They're the same, right? Basically. Uh, Brightburn. Since he's basically Ryan, almost anybody. Yeah, Ariel. He could. Brightburn would basically kill anybody that Ryan could kill. Surge Hero, sorry, 100. Only watched 5 to 6 seasons of Supernatural. Came in while season 7 was airing. Was interested in watching it, but towards season 5, 6, I was kind of through with it. Yeah, it's look. I kind of felt that way. There's several shows I felt that way about. Like you have to know when you kind of run out of ideas or something interesting to say. The thing about syndicated or episodic TV is that I mean, look at Law and Order. It's the same fucking show every show. The only way they kind of get around that is they introduce some long running, you know, storylines or something like that. But week to week, it's a different case. It's a different person that murders someone. It's a different person that's raping or whatever somebody. I don't know. It is you know, and I don't know why people like watching it. I honestly don't. It's the same fucking show over and over again. Says the guy that read comic books for many years and read the same fucking stories just repackaged. So I mean, I know there's no new stories under the sun, but like it's so repetitive. And I can't imagine Supernatural didn't do that either, though I understand they introduced a lot of lore and a lot of new characters and stuff like that. So, I mean, if you can keep it fresh, I suppose that's a lot of TV. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know anything about My Hero Academia, Ariel. So you have to ask somebody in the chat. I don't know. Um, Johnny says, "Do you wish Queen Maeve was in this season?" I don't necessarily miss her. She was a cool character, but I think her story arc ran its course. And I don't like, to me, what's the point of if a character's in this show, they need a narrative purpose. And her story arc basically ended. And aside from just having muscle to throw at something, what was she there for? Um, so like when you look around at all the cast of characters throughout this season, they are all there for something. They exist there for something. You know, if they have an actual character arc during the season, they're relevant. The one-off characters, they are background scenery to sort of build up what's going on. So I just don't see what do you do with Maeve, like beyond what we've already seen. Galactus wins all the time, every time. He's not ain't Johnny. Brightburn versus Galactus. That's not even. I feel like now you're you're going overboard. Galactus wins every time. He is not the Sentry. Sentry's the only Superman clone that I think could beat Galactus. Ariel says Brightburn could kill Stormfront, A-Train, possibly Maeve, Jeep, Star. Yeah, look, like I said, anybody that Ryan could beat, sure. And Ryan basically is Homelander with slightly lesser powers. So basically everybody. Surge 100. And by the way, guys, about 9 more minutes, and then I'm gonna end this. So if y'all have any more questions or comments about the boys, let me know so I can say something about them before then. I gave up on Law and Order SVU. Oh, fuck. I gave up on Law and Order. Let's see, what is 2024? 20 years ago. I used to watch it when I was in college. Maybe right after I got out. My ex-wife was into it until she also realized, like, this is the same shit over and over again. Then my other ex-wife, my more recent ex-wife, loved it, and she was watching that shit last year, and I was just like, nope, I don't care what you say, it's bullshit. It's just the same fucking thing over and over again. And also these police are terrible, and also, this is just propaganda. I don't believe in that shit, so fuck it. SVU can, I don't know. It would be nice if it ended, but it never will because people are weird. Ariel says Tech Knight versus Homelander coming on July 4th. Tech Knight's unfortunately not going to make it to that engagement. Johnny, Homelander has to get a milk endorsement. Like, I don't know if y'all watch Chappelle's Show, but like P. Diddy in that episode of Chappelle's Show, he only drinks the finest breast milks, pure Cambodian if he can help it. I love that breast milk thing was ridiculous, and I loved it. The actor playing Firecracker, she is. I don't know who. I don't know her, but she is on fire this season. I think she really has brought her A game to this character. I 100% believe her when she's on screen. Her and Sage, those two actors. I think Susan Hayward is the one that plays Sage. They are great. And they have stepped into this show. This show has established characters, established actors. I like, even like this season, there's 4 people that are really just going hard. And everybody's going hard. Anthony Starr, obviously. Jack Quaid, amazing. But the actors for Sage and Firecracker are really on point. I love it. I love that they bring in this kind of talent that I don't know them, but now I'm going to they're on my radar now. When I see them in something else, I'm like, hey, I know that they're bringing quality. That's what's up. Uriel says I think Soldier Boy would get released from his prison in season 5 to fight Homelander. Would they do that? We'll see. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I liked what's his name, Jensen Ackles. So why not? But maybe in the final, like it'd be like it'd be the Avengers Endgame scene. Brightburn would annihilate Galactus? No. No, Galactus eats planets. No. Galactus Galactus is one of in the Marvel universe, Galactus is essentially one of the cosmic powers. Not equal to, but very nearly equal to the living tribunal. Very more Galactus is more powerful than a celestial, is essentially more powerful than just about basically more powerful than every god that exists, every god of any kind of persuasion, every devil, every demon. Galactus will be the incarnation of the next universe, and when he's done consuming everything in this one, so no, that's he's way more powerful than Brightburn. No, Homelander couldn't beat Flash. Flash would beat the Ariel. Homelander could not beat. He could not beat the Avengers. He definitely can't beat. He could not beat the Justice League. Wonder Woman would beat his ass. Martian Manhunter would beat his ass. That's too many. It's too many. Hottest character in The Boys. Are you talking about who's the most attractive? Sure. I mean, I used to think Erin Moriarty was really cute. She's had plastic surgery, and good for her for affirming how she feels about herself. I don't care for it. I don't like plastic surgery face, so it's not a fan. I think Karen Fukuhara, she's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. As Kamiko, I think she looks great. But there's a lot of very pretty people on the show. Hell, what's his name? That plays the Deep. He's a good looking guy. Who else? The woman that plays Ashley, Colby Menifee, she's pretty. They got a lot of pretty people on the show. Just like take your pick. I like Claudia Domit, who is Victoria Newman, who also is also dating Jack Quaid. That's good for them. The girl spin would be a cool spin-off show. Yeah, I like the part in that's season where they beat up what's her name? Stormfront. All right, we're getting close to closing time, guys. So I'm gonna answer a few more things and then we're gonna split. A-Train A-Train is an inspiration. Hopefully you're inspired to turn over a new leaf and not be, because he's kind of sucks, but he's been better this season. I really appreciate them giving him a character arc that doesn't make me want to reach through the screen and slap him on the back of the head. Ariel, I want to read this. All right, I've got it. I'm assuming this is in jest, but Firecracker is a true hero. My teenage son got to spend 3 hours with her alone reading the Bible. I've never seen him so excited to learn about Jesus. I enjoy that. One Punch Man and Goku can defeat Galactus. Yes, One Punch Man can defeat Galactus. Goku, depending on his depending on his power level and where you're at in the show. But that's not very fair because Goku's always one step ahead of everything. Every character in fiction could beat Homelander. I would there's a guy on YouTube and I forget his name. Because I would just see his shorts for a while, but he would do like these little animated things telling various anime characters who could solo or one shot them. very fun. Apparently, Sonic the Hedgehog from the comics is ridiculously powerful. So yeah, um, Saitama could solo the. Yes, he could. Saitama he is a cheat code. A Train is such a big. His heart's big because of juicing. Ashley hair looks so shiny. I wonder how she keeps it on. By the way, this last thing I'm going to say, I really am going to have to get off in about a few minutes. Colby Menifee, who plays Ashley, brilliant in this episode. Can you, like, I know they had to have intimacy coordinators on the show because that whole dungeon scene, but she sold the shit out of being, a femdom, she's tickling and torturing and all that stuff. And I was like, my God, you sold me. I believe everything that just happened in this scene. And she was hilarious, saying all the most vulgar shit. You can't, no, we're not gonna give her an Emmy for that scene, but I really, really appreciate how committed to that role she was. It was fun. This is the last thing I'm going to answer. Who wins the spelling bee between Reed Richards and Sister Sage? Reed Richards. Sister Sage has a limit to her intelligence because of the brain that's encased in her skull. Reed does not. So he wins. So with that, thank you all for showing up. I really do appreciate it. This was fun. Sorry this was shortened this week. Work got in the way. But hopefully next week it'll be better. I got to check my work schedule and make sure I can do it. But we're definitely going to talk about more. The penultimate episode of season 4, episode 7 is coming. It's called The Insider. I'm seriously looking forward to it. I'm hoping for real fun and cool stuff. Do me a favor if you haven't already, like this stream. Share it out with people because they can watch this. They can watch the replay later. And go if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe if you will. That would be nice. And hit the notification bell so it'll let you know when I schedule the next one of these. Like I said, it's probably going to be next Friday, probably around this time. We'll see. And otherwise, like guys, check me out on socials. It's supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com if you want to email. Blerd_force1 on Instagram and on Threads. Super_not_funny_show on TikTok. I do occasionally post stuff there. But generally Threads is the best way to reach me. And just tell people about the channel and the stream. Like I enjoy this. This is fun stuff. Last thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna see what y'all said, and then I'm gonna peace out. So how strong? Oh man, I don't know if I want to do how strong is Homelander because it's just gonna basically be strong, big fish in a small pond, but not as good as most people. Son of the Mask is so cringe. All right, Ariel, appreciate it, man. I will see you guys next time. All right, peace.